Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the show. My name's Theo, and today we are joined by Pio Vincenzo of BoDoggos Entertainment. Pio, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Before we get started, I just want to remind everyone that none of this is financial advice. We're not financial advisors, and we're just some guys on the internet. Pio,
Sounds like a plan.
How's it going today?
It's going well, man. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Bitcoin's just pumping right now. MicroStrategy is doing the same. I can't say the same about Tesla here. I know you were looking at my MicroStrategy versus Tesla trade. It's currently going in the MicroStrategy direction.
I feel like it's going to, so this is, where I'm at with all this stuff now. And I feel like this is the result of me holding a lot of things not called Bitcoin over the past few years, specifically, altcoins and meme coins and NFT projects is, previous cycle NFT cycle, right? Or, previous crypto cycle NFT kind of breakout. There were a ton of NFT projects that outperformed Bitcoin by a lot. Like basically, if it was like, hey, should you put $25,000 into a Bored Ape, or several Bored Apes from the Bored Ape collection, or should you put $25,000 into Bitcoin? It was an absolute ridiculous no-brainer to put it into the Bored Apes because the outperformance was insane. Obviously, over a multi-year time horizon, that hasn't been the case anymore, but there's these moments of outperformance. If you put 25 grand into Fartcoin the day that it came out versus 25 grand into Bitcoin, obviously Fartcoin was the better decision at that point. I mean, then Fartcoin's come back down, this, that, and the other thing. But basically, I look at assets in the context of Bitcoin and, how long do I want to hold this asset? Because I want to hold Bitcoin forever. I want to hold MicroStrategy pretty much forever, unless something, because that's a company, something weird could happen. Michael Saylor could die and, all these different things could happen that would change my position on that. But like the Bitcoin, I just flat out want to hold forever. And so I love Tesla. I love Elon Musk. I used to have like 100K of Tesla. I had, way more. I have zero Tesla right now. What I have is an underwater put option on Tesla that I sold, which is fine. And I could make money on it. But the premiums on MSTR are stronger than on Tesla. And I would rather hold MSTR, but Tesla is the one stock where I'm like, it'll upset me if it pumps really hard and I have zero, because it is one of the high conviction things. And I think it'll be one of the best performing assets over the next 20 or 30 years. But I don't think that it outperforms MicroStrategy because it's, it's almost 10x bigger right now already. And yeah, it's a kick-ass company. It's incredible. And they hold a bunch of Bitcoin and it's Elon Musk. So for those reasons, I want to have exposure to it, but I didn't want to prioritize building a big Tesla position over making my MicroStrategy position just outrageously large.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've heard price targets for Tesla around like $2,000 plus. So you think MicroStrategy can go higher than that? And were you around for the recent stock split on MicroStrategy?
Yeah, I mean, I held MicroStrategy through that. So if I'm not mistaken, I think MicroStrategy was like $1,500 at the time of the split, or towards 2,000, like $1,800 or something like that. I don't think that it's important to look at, the share price of a stock, unless you're trading options on it. If you're trading options on it, then obviously the share price is a huge factor. But with Tesla, so what's the market cap right now? Let me quickly pull up market cap. Tesla, it is $778 billion, which by the way is cheap for Tesla. That's a very cheap market cap for Tesla because the all-time high, I want to say, if you look at the market cap chart for Tesla, the all-time high, it's a little bit less than 2x where we're at now. So it's like 1.3 or 1.22 trillion or something like that. If you look it up, there's market cap charts on like TradingView and stuff like that where you can switch and get the exact amount. But it's whatever. So it was over $1 trillion, right? Yeah. I think that MicroStrategy is $1 trillion company. Probably not this cycle, because that would be a very aggressive rate of appreciation. But over the next two Bitcoin cycles, right? This one and the next one, I think it goes to $1 trillion. So I think that it can go up this cycle by 3 to 5x. And I just think it's a lot harder for an almost $800 billion asset to do that in the same time frame. Doesn't mean that I don't think Tesla can absolutely rip. I absolutely think that it can. And, so that's why I want to own Tesla too. I absolutely want to own Tesla too.
Yeah. And I know you were recently talking about, we're still in a bull market, and I'm getting a bit worried too, because, we were all so sure that the banana zone was coming in February, March, April, and it turned out to be the exact opposite, right? So everybody talking about the second leg of this bull market that would look like 2021, and having that in October, November now, is that going to be a similar, like, just lead us right into the slaughter sort of thing? Like, how do you see the next few months panning out?
I never like subscribed to the banana zone thing. I thought it
Yeah,
was a really fun phrase. It's a really fun phrase for sure. So kudos to, I think Raul Paul came up
yeah,
with it. Is that, yeah. So kudos to him for a wicked funny phrase. He's got the accent. He's got a big personality. So that guy's like a great character. I don't even know what it is actually. I didn't even like, I don't follow Raul Paul. I'm not going to lie. After the stuff that he said about Bitcoin in the past, it's just hard for me to follow him. And I know that, like, I went to one of his events here in Miami. Me, Nick, and Clemente went to one of the events, and I know that if I went to that same event 5 years ago, everybody at the event would be talking about how Ethereum was going to replace, like, literally replace Bitcoin. It was going to be ultrasound money.
Ultrasound money. Yeah.
Everything crypto was going to be Ethereum, and I'm really proud that, like, I never understood that Ethereum thesis at all. I always was confused by it. Even when I like held Ethereum, I was like, I just don't understand this whole thing. And I never thought Ethereum was like something that was going to be better than Bitcoin long term. I just never got it. So anyway, yeah, like I have no idea what's going to happen with the price of Bitcoin over the course of this year. I think it directionally goes up between now and December. I think it goes past all-time high between now and December. I think that there's some wild stuff going on with the Trump administration. And I think that really, I think it's a couple things. I think when I listen to people a lot smarter than me, I think that they're trying to get the Fed to cut rates. I think that's one thing. I think they're trying to buckle China a little bit. So I guess Bessent, the I believe Treasury Secretary. Yep, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. If you look at his history, I guess he has a history of sort of being able to kind of crumble nations. If you Google like Scott Bessent, like Bank of England, that's like an interesting history. Okay, what up with the Coke? Shout out to you. Oh, I gotta see. I didn't even know there were comments. Oh, I see comments now. What's going on? So anyway, yeah, so he's got a history with that. So people, this conspiracy theory is that he was brought in to basically buckle China a little bit. And the result of all this is that there's going to be an increase in global liquidity across the board, including the United States. And that's just ultimately going to be good for Bitcoin, right? Right now, it seems like it's really great for gold. And I just found out that trading, selling call options on GLD, which is like the biggest gold ETF, is it's actually a pretty interesting thing. Like normally I would never hold any gold because I'm just a Bitcoin guy and gold's just a shiny rock. And I don't really care about having moments of outperformance when people are scared. It's not really that important to me. I'm more focused on long-term growth. But now that I use margin in my brokerage account to sell these puts because it generates so much cash, it's awesome. I'm stuck in an underwater put with Tesla right now, but it's not something that I lose sleep over at all because I actually could just roll it and keep generating income from it, but I want to get out of it because I want to switch to MicroStrategy because I've gone through this now with Tesla and I'm like, I'd rather just own spot Tesla versus trade the sell put options on it because the premiums on MicroStrategy are going to be better, and if I'm underwater on MicroStrategy, that's just totally fine anyway. So anyway, that's my long term, that's my long and short of it. But having gold in your portfolio when you're using a lot of margin to protect against margin calls is pretty cool. If you can sell covered calls on it and generate yield, even better.
Yeah, it's a good thought. Yeah, I keep thinking about gold in terms of like the actual material and selling gold and stuff like that. But yeah, you can just buy the ETFs. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but traditionally the gold bugs will tell you don't buy the ETFs because it's not real gold, it's paper gold, and they're absolutely right. But if you want to generate yield selling covered calls on it, then it's actually, and if you want it to be in your brokerage account to count against margin, then and I can't do that with Bitcoin right now. I can do it with IBIT. So that's actually why I hold some IBIT, is because of the margin.
Yeah, and now might even be a good time to sell a gold covered call because it's spiking right now, right? That's ultimately the best time to sell these covered calls. You were collecting like over $1,000 of MSTY premiums over the last month. Does that mean, like, what is that, like over 500 shares, I guess? Or What does
Yeah,
that translate to?
much more than that. I believe it was here, let me pull it up real quick. So I added a bunch actually today and yesterday because I was in a position where I was asking myself, should I add before the dividend payout or after? I think the sort of noob mentality would have been to add before, because it's like our human brains are like, well, if I put it in right now before the X dividend date, I'm going to get a bigger dividend, and that sounds nice to me. But the reality is the stock crashes, or the ETF crashes every single time. I'm trying to keep up with these comments too, but the ETF crashes every single time the dividend payout hits. So it's actually, I think, better to
Okay.
plow money in right after. And to answer your question, right now, after all of that adding to Misty, I have 1,625 shares. But before the dividend, I had 1,272.36. So at that $1.34 payout per share was just under $1,700.
Cool. Yeah, I still haven't got into the dividend thing, but it was definitely interesting listening to the Retire on Dividends guy.
Yeah, so Retire on Dividends is like a really great guy to listen to if you want to understand what's happening in the fund on a day over day basis, so you can like really understand what's going on. There aren't like surprises, you know, at the end of the month, where if you were expecting like a $1.80 payout per share and it comes out $1.35, you're like confused. But I think actually there's some videos by this guy, British Hodl. I really recommend following British Hodl. I think he's one of the best crypto Twitter follows in any direction that you can, you know, go with. And he's actually, I didn't know he was big on Misty. It caught me off guard. I did not know this guy was going to be big on Misty. But basically his position is like, you need income to hodl Bitcoin. Yeah, no shit. And like for me, I have normal people income because I run a crypto business, right? Like BoDoggos Entertainment, right? So I have normal people income. I don't make like $500,000 a year the way that like friends of mine that work in sales at big tech companies make. And so if you work in sales at a big tech company and you make $500,000 a year, I don't think you need to get misty, because you probably have money coming out of your ears from your income. You can just plow it all into Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, Tesla, assets like that, and just focus on growth, which is really nice. But Misty, yeah, the ETF, Burbs is asking what Misty is versus MicroStrategy, the stock. MicroStrategy, the stock is MicroStrategy, the stock, right? And then Misty is the YieldMax yield-focused ETF, where they deploy a strategy. It's a sophisticated options trading strategy where they trade synthetic longs. So you're getting into traditional finance options trading jargon here. But look up like synthetic longs on Misty, where they buy and sell calls at the same price to generate yield. And they're humans, so they make mistakes all the time. They also crush it all the time. And basically the share price of the ETF is at the same number now as when it launched just over a year ago. It just turned 1 year old. And so if you've held it for the past year, you got like, you know, almost 100% dividend payout of what you put in. You put $10,000 a year ago, you've received almost, I think actually you've received maybe more than $10,000 over the course of the year. And the price of the asset is the same. So is this going to outperform MicroStrategy? No, absolutely not. Is it going to outperform Bitcoin? No, absolutely not. So it's not a growth, asset like MicroStrategy and Bitcoin are growth assets. It's an income asset. So I'm able to give myself more income from buying Misty. But I'd like, if you're going to buy it, you like, no, not financial advice, but you should buy it at this price, like right.
Yeah, it looks like low in the channel there.
Or less. I would not buy it at like $35. If MicroStrategy pumps super duper hard over the next 6 months, Misty's going to pump, which is actually pretty crazy. And the payout per share is going to go up. So like if you build a Misty position at around $20 and just say, I'm holding this thing and just go long-term with it, it's, yeah, you know, I think it can get pretty weird. I think if we get to 150K Bitcoin, $600, $700 MicroStrategy, hopefully more, hopefully $1,000 MicroStrategy. That's what the Giga Bulls like myself are hoping for. I think the Misty payouts could get weird. Like, dude, if I'm just getting $9,500 a month of Misty payout, like that'd be pretty cool. You know,
yeah,
so
that'd be like Easy Eats bodega money in Bitcoin.
in Bitcoin, why is he doing well with Bitcoin?
Well, he's earning what, like several grand per day now in Bitcoin?
Oh, I didn't even, I'm going to text him. I didn't even know.
Oh, you probably missed the morning show today. He was talking about it.
Okay, let me.
Yeah, Easy's making tons of money. I'm making like a few dollars a day, but he went crazy with it.
Got it. I didn't even know that.
Wizard was asking about GameStop. Have you been playing GameStop at all since they added Bitcoin to the balance sheet?
I have 200 shares. So I bought 200 shares and I sold covered calls on it immediately. The options premiums are not there yet for like 10 Delta covered calls, 30 to 40 days out. They're just not there yet. But I mean, like there is some premium to collect. But I don't want to miss out on a Bitcoin treasury company because I'm a fan of, MicroStrategy and Bitcoin treasury companies in general. This guy, Ryan Cohen, the CEO of MicroStrategy, seems like a pretty interesting guy with an investing background. At one point, he was the largest shareholder of Apple, if I'm not mistaken. If you Google Ryan Cohen Apple, Ryan Cohen Bed Bath and Beyond, Ryan Cohen GameStop investment, he's got a pretty interesting background with investing. Before he was the CEO of GameStop, I believe he was the largest individual shareholder. So this guy is like a whale investor that I think is pretty qualified to deploy a Bitcoin treasury strategy for a company that has a lot of cash. That's actually done the ATM strategy that MicroStrategy has done before, just without Bitcoin. So I think he's pretty savvy. I also think that there's a built-in fan base, both on the Bitcoin side, people like me and probably you, Theo. And then there's a built-in fan base on the GameStop side, like the Wall Street Bets people and everything like that, the Roaring Kitty fan base. And there's just an interesting history with the stock. So it's very easy for me to buy 200 shares of that one.
Yeah, and you got into Janover too, which had the Solana strategy, right?
I didn't buy it. I saw it on
into
Twitter. I was like, this is interesting.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is with it. I didn't like that the guy called it a project. I was like, what are you talking about? And so, yeah, but I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Ray was buying it on the show this morning. Everybody was really excited about it. Because they're doing the MicroStrategy strategy, or the strategy, whatever you want to call it. But they're doing it with Solana, I believe. That's the narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was tweeting about this the day.
They're buying it here at this peak here.
Yeah, I was tweeting about this when it came out. Don't get it twisted. I knew about this the day it came out. I was confused. But yeah, it's interesting. I have a bunch of Solana, so bring it on. But I'm not. Yeah, I mean, this thing could crush. It could do really well. I don't know.
Cool. And then Wizard was asking about Render. I don't know if you play Render at all. I haven't held it in a while. I sold it. I sold most of my alts when Bitcoin broke the 120-day SMA. I've just been pretty much sitting in Bitcoin and Solana for several months now, and stocks, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Render a little bit breakout on the daily there.
I don't know anything about Render. It's very hard for me to buy like altcoins. If anything, I think Solana is really interesting. And then we work with AVAX, so I like AVAX a lot, as a company. But beyond that, Easy and Nick, or definitely Nick, for sure Nick. Well, Easy too, for sure, because Easy's been long AVAX for a while. But Nick thinks that AVAX is going to pump really hard. So Nick has a ton. Nick and Clemente has an ass load of AVAX because of getting into KET super early, and he just left it in AVAX. So I think that there's something with AVAX. SWI seems to be a pretty fast horse, but I'm actually building a position in Fartcoin now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did the same thing as Ray. Pretty much, I got into Fartcoin again once it broke that 120 daily SMA. That was the signal I was really looking for. SUI, yeah, I'm holding some. And then, yeah, funny about AVAX, it's actually larger than my ETH position now. AVAX at such a cheap price here, like $19. It's kind of reminiscent of Sol at $8 a little bit. Not financial advice, of course, but seems very cheap on the unit bias level here.
Yeah, I mean, I think for this thing to go to $60 is not that hard. I think it was at $60 in the last 9 months, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 54 looks like.
Yeah, 55. So I don't think it's that outlandish for it to go back there. I think that there's crazier calls you could make in a $175,000 environment, Bitcoin environment. I think that's not an outlandish take.
All we need is one bullish China news announcement, and I think everything will just pop, right?
Dude, I really don't even pay attention or care to anything that happens in the short term.
Yeah,
I really don't, because it's dude, this stuff is going to go up. Bitcoin is going to go up. I'm if you cannot figure that out, if you cannot look at the Bitcoin chart and figure out that it's going to go up, then there's just like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. There's just no helping you. Like this basic pattern recognition, and then like like read one, maybe two books. Read the Bitcoin Standard, read Broken Money. Like if you just do those steps, it's like, this is school assignment. This is summer reading. Just read two books. Crazy idea. Two books. Insane idea. And then look at the Bitcoin chart. It's like, this thing is going to go up. And so other things are going to go up too. It's hard to bet on other things. Like if you bet big on Ethereum over the past 4 years, that's a very unfortunate situation to be in from an investment perspective. It just is, because you could have just bought Bitcoin instead. Like you just could have clicked on the number one coin instead of the number two coin. You're like, I'm going to outperform this number one coin by buying the number two coin. You could have just bought the number one coin and smoked the performance of the number two coin. So those situations are unfortunate. But if you just keep it simple and just buy Bitcoin, dude, I just got this Gemini credit card. We work with Gemini, and they told us about the credit card. I was like, I didn't know that you guys had a credit card. Got this credit card. Now when I'm buying coffee, I'm getting Bitcoin with no fee, because you get the cash back instantly in Bitcoin. So it's like, I'm just trying to figure out ways to get Bitcoin. Selling the covered calls on these long positions that I have is another way to get Bitcoin. And then I'm buying IBIT in my Robinhood account, which I would have never done, but I'm doing it because of the margin buffer. That, like, I need to have that margin buffer because I'm generating sick yield selling puts on Tesla now, but will be MicroStrategy, and I will not get liquidated. I'm not an idiot. This is not going to happen. I will not get liquidated. So I have so much. I just have a lot of options that I can bring, or a lot of different assets that I can bring into Robinhood, like my Solana position that I can liquidate and turn into IBIT if I have to, so that I can have that buffer, for my options. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you using that Arch Public service? I think they use Gemini, right?
Yes. So we were doing that show with Andrew from Arch every week, little mini partnership there, because that algorithm that Arch, is using is like really, really sick for dollar cost averaging in like a more efficient way than just doing it once a day. It's essentially buying the asset when it's low. And then if you want to do cash yield, you can set it up so you can buy it low and sell it high.
Yeah, that's right.
Scott Melker's audience appreciates it a lot more than my audience does. So I think Scott Melker's audience might have like more money. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I signed up for it, but then it turns out I couldn't use Gemini in Canada. So I'm sort of waiting for them to open up other platforms, like maybe Apex Pro or something could be compatible with it.
I don't know. That would be a question
on the back end. Yeah, exactly. I've been talking to Andrew about it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I promise if you tweeted him about it, he will respond.
I'm in his DMs for sure.
Okay, I was going to say 100% chance he is on it. He will respond, but yeah.
Burbs is asking about that MSTR versus Tesla trade. I guess we could talk about that briefly.
Maybe you can talk to me about pair trading. I don't know if I fully grasp, to me.
Yeah, so I can explain it really simply here. So I have 4 ticks on the chart. So I have a buy and then 3 sells here. So here, this white line represents 1-to-1 when they're the same price, MicroStrategy versus Tesla.
Yep.
So down here, I sold half my Tesla and I bought MicroStrategy. And then here, when it was a bit overextended, I sold half my MicroStrategy and bought Tesla, but then it kept going up. So I sold another 10% and another 10%. And now I'm sort of feeling a bit overexposed to Tesla. I still do hold like 10% of my portfolio in MicroStrategy, but I'm starting to feel a little bit overexposed to Tesla. So I'm sort of like hoping that Tesla pumps and MicroStrategy stays down for a bit, but that's the current trade right now.
So just so I understand, you have this chart, which is just MicroStrategy against Tesla, and you're just monitoring the white line, which is when they're dead even. And when one breaks out above that line, then that's the time to sell that one because it's a period of outperformance.
Yeah, so like the ratios here, like this one was about a 0.74 or 0.75 ratio versus each other. Mm-hmm. And then this one was 1.16. And then up here, it got into the 1.2s. So you wouldn't want to like do it at like 1.05, for example. Like you want to wait until it's quite overextended. Mm-hmm. And this linear regression channel kind of evolves over time. So at the time, this looked quite overextended, but then these, put them to shame. And now the channel has expanded. So it's a bit of a hope-based strategy, but I was kind of like just sort of looking at it like it was possible to do. But at least this way, if MicroStrategy pops, I still do have an allocation. So it's about like trading half of the position so that you're always exposed to both, but you have a bit weighted in one direction or the other. And the idea was to increase the total amount of shares because I want to be able to sell covered calls on both. And I just didn't have enough shares to do that, essentially.
Okay. And to be clear, though, you're just holding both assets traditionally and making decisions based on the look of this chart. It's not like...
Yeah, it's all spot. I can't do options at the moment. I had 100 Tesla shares, but I took some profits to pay off some debt and stuff like that. So now I'm below 100 total shares.
Okay.
I'm trying to get up to 100.
And you're not buying both at the same time through a platform that tracks the pair or anything. You're just holding both, like just traditional buy.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just using this trading view chart, and I'm like making little ticks on the chart when I make a purchase or a sale.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think that this is absolutely fantastic. And I think basically everybody in crypto should be doing this with Bitcoin as the other asset. So if you buy Dogecoin, you should, have the chart of Dogecoin against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like 100%. If I had done that, I'd be so rich. If like from the first time I ever bought Bitcoin, if every single other crypto asset, I just traded it against Bitcoin, holy shit. Oh my God. I would have like had so much more money now. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Thanks for taking a look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an easy one.
Cool. So we're at about a half hour now. Anything else you would like to discuss today?
No, I mean, this was great, man. This is a very cool little, like a nice podcast that you have, showing the visuals and stuff. Ray is the one that pulls up the visuals for our shows and stuff, but thanks so much for having me. And everybody, make sure you keep watching Theo's show. Let's go.
Thanks so much, Pio. And thanks so much, everybody, for joining. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye.